Welcome to Nerd on Nerd with me, Jack Kempster.
And me, Liam Underwood. And today is a special day, isn't it, Jack?
It is indeed.
Why is it so special?
Because we've been joined by Jason.
Yay!
Hello, gentlemen. Nice to be here. This is going to be great. I love you guys so much, and it's been so long since the Kong Skull Island review for Atlantic SC that now I'm glad that I'm sitting down and talking with you guys.
We are glad to finally have got all the arrangements in place to have you on.
Yeah, time zones.
Exactly. Exactly. So, we'll be talking about Bon Cop, Bad Cop?
Yeah,
Am I saying that right?
Bon. So it's like on. You have to say on with a French accent. Bon Cop, Bad Cop.
Can't do accents. I really can't do accents.
No, try Liam.
Bon Cop.
Bad
How's
Cop.
that?
Yeah, exactly. That's good. That sounds great.
Awesome. So we'll be talking about that later on. But before we get to that, it's time for Amanda's favourite section. She sent us a tweet to let us know. Catching up with Jack and Liam and Jason. So let's start with Jason, shall we? What have you been up to lately?
I just got back from a week vacation in New Brunswick with my beautiful girlfriend Leslie, and we visited my parents, which is always great to get into summer vacation. You get to go see your folks, and I basically washed the dishes twice. So the rest of the time it was just this lazy ass, just chilling on the couch, smoking cigars with my dad, occasionally having a couple of drinks. So that was really, really fun. And I was able to visit one of the places I hadn't visited in Canada yet called Hopewell Rocks, which is in New Brunswick. It's a really touristy place, but it's incredibly beautiful. It's must-see for anybody who visits Canada. So if you guys get a chance to see that, that'd be great as well. And it's a place where they have these really impressive rock formations that have been caused by tidal erosion. And, it just looks super cool. I didn't particularly know we had that here. My parents mentioned it to me, and I was like, I have to go take pictures over there. And so it was a 2.5 hour drive away from my folks' place, but it was worth every minute we spent there. And it's one of the places in Canada where the tide actually goes up. I think it's I don't know if it's 28 meters in a couple hours. So basically yeah, exactly, they tell you, okay, it's time to get off the beach. Like, oh no, give me 2 minutes. No, it's get the fuck off the beach. You gotta go now. Anyway, I posted a couple of pictures of that on Twitter. I could send more if you guys want to put them in the show notes. And it's such a beautiful, beautiful place. The sand over there, the bottom anyway, is all like red kind of clay or whatnot. And so when the tide starts coming in, it looks like this blood flow of the ocean. It looks very, very much very bleak, but at the same time, it looks beautiful. So yeah, I got to take a bunch of pictures. That was great. And I've been reading a series of essays on Christopher Nolan's works. I found a book while I was in Fredericton, and it was great. And so I'm looking at trauma and how he uses tricks and whatnot. I forgot the titles of the essays that I've been reading, but I was happy to find that. And I should be reading David Fincher essays, but I'll get to that this week. And now I'm back home. Everything's relaxed. I got to see Baby Driver, which was really fun. But I'm looking forward to just heading back to the gym with a vengeance in preparation for my upcoming semester, teaching the kids that don't want to be there, but I need to get physically fit so that my mental health doesn't wane until Christmas. So that's catching up with me.
I mean, it sounds like you've been very busy for a week off.
Well, yeah, but I mean, because I'm a teacher, you're constantly trying to prepare classes and grading papers and whatnot. So I keep myself busy with shit that I actually want to do. So, I mean, reading essays on film and whatnot is something that I take a lot of joy in. I haven't sat down to read some Star Wars books that I wanted to get to, but, I try to keep myself occupied with things that I actually like doing. So right now I'm just getting back from my parents' place. I was overly spoiled. It was such a fantastic time. We had great weather. I got to play basketball pretty much every day, just to keep the blood flowing a little bit. I think I might have packed on a couple of pounds. I'm going to have to burn that off this week. But anyway, we'll see what goes. And, I drank moonshine for the first time, which is odd.
Yeah, I've only ever kind of seen that referenced in like Tom and Jerry cartoons.
Exactly. but for my dad has this thing that he does. My dad loves taking things apart and putting them back together, and that doesn't mean my mom.
Okay.
I mean bicycles. And so
Right.
he loves motorcycles and bicycles. Anything that has to do with cars and bikes and motorcycles are like Legos to him. So he just takes that apart, puts it back together, and you've got yourself this wonderful hybrid of a working machine. And you're like, how the fuck did you do this, you manual laborer, you? And so I was with my dad, and fuck, where was I going with this? I have no idea.
Moonshine?
Moonshine, there you go. Thanks, man. That's a long detour to moonshine. And so one of my father doesn't do this, like he doesn't ask anybody for money, but there's a couple of people around the city of Fredericton that know who he is. And so they've asked him occasionally, hey, I saw that you put this on your bike. Would you mind doing the same thing for me? And so the dude, my dad, wonderful guy that he is, he was like, sure, it's just more playtime for him, you know. And so he brings the guy over to the garage and he says, all right, cool, you know, I'll fix the bike, I'll do that for you. And once he's done, this dude shows up and he says, here, I make this. And my dad, without batting an eye, just says, oh, what is this? He says, it's alcohol. And he says, I make moonshine. And Dad's like, oh, you mean like in the Old West? And my dad just takes it and he says, thanks. And so it was great. It tastes fantastic. I mean, there's nothing bad about it. Although I don't know how the fuck he did it. I don't know if he's like Freddie Quell from The Master, where he's draining missiles in order to make some sort of weird alcohol. But anyway, if that was the case, it was great missile alcohol that I had this weekend with my dad. Although it did give me a headache the next day. It was fun while we were drinking it with Canada Dry.
Nice.
See, I'd imagine that moonshine would taste bad. I've always pictured it being like just really strong alcohol.
Not really. It's like the one that my dad had. He put it in a rum bottle, and I don't know if he forgot to take the rum out first because moonshine is supposed to be clear. But this one had this slight, like, you know, yellowish tint where I was like, all right, that's sketchy, but at the same time, you know what? Fuck it. I'm 37 now. Moonshine. I get to say that I had moonshine at least once in my life, and it was cool.
That's cool.
And it doesn't taste much, to be honest. I mean, there's no real sweetness to it. It's just a clear liquid, and it gives you kind of a fun buzz. So, I mean, no, man, if ever someone offers moonshine, you know, be sure that he's all right. You know, if he looks sketchy on the side of the road, you know, just don't say like, all right, cool, because you'd be giving him a blowjob in the alleyway, and you had no idea what the hell was going on. But I think that, if you're ever in a chance and someone says you got moonshine, live the dream, man. You got the Old West coming to you free on a platter, just take it. So, my experience was great.
Fair enough.
That's a ringing endorsement for moonshine right there, if we ever get the opportunity. Maybe that could be like, if we ever get to doing the Jack and Liam try new things.
Yeah.
We'll do moonshine as one of them.
I was actually asking my dad, I said, hey, can you get in touch with the dude? Because I have one of my friends here in Quebec City who's a chef. And I was like, I'm pretty sure he'd love to get his hands on moonshine. You know, I just felt like becoming a moonshine smuggler from New Brunswick to Quebec. And I just give it to my Quebec friend. And then we start this whole scam, Al Capone style, around New Brunswick and Quebec. Would be great. Making no money whatsoever, just getting a bunch of people sick. It'd be weird.
Living the dream.
See, that to me, just like you kind of, the way you described your vacation where like you only had to kind of wash the dishes twice.
Yeah.
That to me sounds like what I imagine Jack's life to be like now that he's living back home with his parents, where it's just like every day is a holiday.
Oh, yeah. Oh, totally, Liam. It's not like I go to work and have a stressful job.
Yeah, but then you get home, right? And it's like, well, here's dinner cooked for you. That must be nice.
When he said family, I thought he meant he was going back home to the wife and kids. I didn't think he was going back home to mom and dad.
No, I live with my mum and dad, Jason. It's not quite as glamorous.
Oh, I mean, yeah, but Jesus Christ, you know, how many people do that today? It's fine. I mean, have you ever watched like Seinfeld and George Costanza moves back in with his parents? I'm pretty sure it's not that bad.
So what have you been up to, Jack?
I went to see Green Day at British Summertime, the festival's called.
Yeah.
So I sent out a few tweets, which, as Jason pointed out, maybe had a few spelling mistakes.
No, there's no maybe about it. Like there was definitely a bit of deciphering that had to go on with some of them.
Oh yeah.
The worst thing is, right, I sat there and I got out my phone and I was like, right, I'm going to do a tweet. And I double checked it about 10 times, just reading through, being like, cool, no spelling mistakes, no spelling mistakes. And then I tweeted out, it's just full of spelling mistakes. I don't know what I was doing.
No one does, Jack.
No, it's mental.
Yeah, I like that. I like that you very rarely use the Nerd on Nerd Twitter account, but as soon as you do, it's really obvious.
I like that originally we had our whole plan where we would end every tweet on Nerd with either a J or an L so people could know, but in reality we don't need it because it's just, if you can't really understand what's being said, it's probably me.
Yeah.
I gotta be honest, I was wondering what the fuck was up with Liam. I was like, what the fuck's going on? Is Liam drunk? What the hell's going on? And then it was like, oh, he says someone else is using the Twitter account. I was like, okay.
So how were Green Day live?
Oh, they're incredible.
See, I liked them, and then I stopped liking them when they did their whole, like, they got a bit too much into politics.
The thing is, right, there's a real, like... So, I'm not huge on when bands are, like, super political, but Green Day have sort of lucked out in that they've got a bunch of songs that are kind of like, oh, fuck the presidency, that, you know, happened around the George Bush era.
Yeah.
And now America's voted Trump in. So a lot of those sentiments are shared by the liberal side. So now when they sing them again, you've got a lot of people going, oh yeah, this is great.
Fair enough.
So it sort of worked.
What's the one, like my favourite song of theirs, where the video is them in like a mental institution?
I don't know, I don't really watch the music videos, Liam.
Okay.
Sorry, buddy.
Alright, well, never mind then.
Good story, Liam.
Thanks. That's the one like Green Day song that I really like, whereas the rest I'm kind of indifferent to.
Fair enough.
But if you enjoyed it, that's good.
Yeah, no, honestly, they're worth seeing. If you get the chance to see them live, just even if you don't particularly like the music, like there were a bunch of songs that I didn't know off their latest album, but they're just like, he is such a good frontman and like good at getting the crowd sort of going, and, you know, was getting people to chant along with him. He brought this girl up on stage, and because he was doing this whole, I think in the end he got 3 people on stage throughout the gig.
Okay, a bit like that time I went to see Penn and Teller and I went on stage.
Sort of, but these guys, the people he was getting up, were, he was like, oh, can anyone in the audience sing, like properly sing? So he got this girl up and she sung a whole verse for one of the songs.
Was she good?
Yeah, no, she was alright, yeah. And then, he got another person to come up and sing, this dude who was just so fucking excited to be on stage with Green Day that it was great. Then he got the last one, he was like, can anyone play guitar? And he got this girl up, and he was like, right, all you need to do is play 3 chords. I think it was D, C, and G, right? Which aren't particularly hard chords.
Yeah.
He was doing it in bar chords, which I don't know if you two know much about guitar.
I don't know much about it, but I know what you're talking about.
Same.
Cool. So yeah, he was doing bar chords because they're slightly different. I was like, oh, that might throw her off if she's not used to them. And this poor girl just like totally fucked it up. And I felt so bad for her. And he was really nice about it because he was like, oh, he was like, sorry, it's cool, go back and stand with Trey Cole, who's the drummer. And then he got this other girl to come up and she played it sort of well enough. But so I was feeling bad for that girl anyway. And then he said to the second girl that had come up, you see that guitar that I've just given you? Keep it.
Oh.
And I was like, oh God, that first girl is just going to be like, oh, I fucked up everything.
Shit.
Like, just this fucking beautiful guitar, and he just gave it away to someone that came up on stage.
Wow. But she got to go and stand by the drums, the first one.
Yeah,
so
she probably got
He gave her some drumsticks.
Yeah.
She did.
Not the drummer, obviously, but I mean the ones he plays with.
Yeah. Yes.
So was there any other bands that were good there?
I saw a bit of the Stranglers.
No idea who that is.
You'd probably know a couple of their songs.
Go on, sing one.
No. But they did Walking on the Beaches, Looking at Some Peaches.
What?
Don't worry, Liam. Who else did I
Was
say?
I supposed to understand what you just said?
Yeah, Walking on the Beaches,
Yeah.
Looking at Some Peaches.
I have no fucking clue what the hell that is.
Okay,
That
well,
sounds like
I
the
know
sort
that
of song I make up just to annoy Kat.
Well, look, just when we're done, go and listen to the Stranglers,
No.
Peaches.
My sentiments
Fair enough,
exactly.
Jason. I can't argue with that. Who else did they have? The Damned,
No, don't know.
Rancid.
Yeah, okay, you're an old
they're
punk,
old
man,
school,
right?
aren't they?
Yeah, it was basically like, so British Summertime. They tend to, I think it's 3 days, and they tend to have like one day that's sort of rocky, one day that's pop, and another day that will be a different genre.
Right.
But then this one they had, so this whole day was basically like old school punk bands.
Nice.
So it was pretty. I'm like not hugely into punk, but it was pretty awesome.
Any other bands that were cool? Because I mean, I used to listen to old punk. I know what Rancid is, Tim Armstrong, and I mean, he had another band just recently where they combined rap and metal. I don't remember exactly what the name is, but I used to like listening to Pennywise and Bad Religion, Strung Out, and all them. That was good back in the day. I used to like listening to that. So I don't know, were any of those big
Yeah.
names there?
I don't think there were any more like huge names, but Six Little Fingers.
I've heard of those.
Oh fuck, was there another? I feel like there was another sort of big one that I'm blanking on.
Well, Green Day's pretty damn big there. So's Rancid. I mean, I don't think
Yeah,
they're as
no, I mean,
popular
Green
as they
Day were, like-
Green Day it's like they're Metallica level now.
Yeah. That's just such a huge name. They were the one that I think most people were there to see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although, to be fair, there were a lot of Rancid fans. Like, my dad was looking around and was like, oh, there are a lot of Rancid fans here.
You went to
Is
the
your dad
concert
a
with your
fan of
dad.
Rancid?
Yes.
Cool.
I go to all gigs with my dad.
That's awesome.
Because my dad is awesome.
Yeah, I like going to dad too. That's
Yeah, because I quite enjoyed our little Twitter exchange, Jack, where you were sort of
Yeah,
saying
you
how
tried to have a
were
little dig at me.
What was that?
You tried to have a little dig at me.
It wasn't a little dig.
Well,
It was a rebuttal to your dig.
yeah, I mean, I'm the cool one, Liam.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Sorry, I missed that meeting we had where we decided which one of us would be the cool one.
Yeah, well, you weren't invited.
Okay, so you're the cool one and I'm the favourite. Is that how we're having it?
Yeah, sure, I don't care. I'm the cool one.
I'll be leaving
Yeah. All
now.
right. Sure.
I don't want to get into this fight. You're gonna put me in the middle. All right, Jason, which one do you think is the cool one? And I'll be like, fuck. No.
Jason, pick your favourite one now.
Yeah. No pressure.
I like both nerds.
Good answer. Very diplomatic.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if either member of the Nerd on Nerd team can claim to be the cool one.
No, you've claimed it though. So
I regret it.
yeah, you there at the gig with your dad and his friends.
Whatever. What did you do, Liam?
I haven't done a lot to be honest. I guested on a podcast yesterday called Zack Attack.
Right.
This is the Zac Efron Superfan podcast, right?
Yeah, where they love Zac Efron in the same way that I love Zac Efron. But maybe more, perhaps, because they actually have a whole podcast all about Zac Efron, where they've gone kind of through his career, watching and recording a podcast episode on each film, but they've done it like in reverse chronological order. So
Oh, okay, so they're working to the past.
yeah, so they got up to one of his early films. This is before like High School Musical, which I'm sure both of you are big fans of. I know Jack is after I made him watch it, but Jason, I'm just
Oh, yeah.
assuming here.
I don't know. I just think that podcast must be getting creepier and creepier, having adults talk about a very, very young guy.
Well, yeah, it got to the stage where they were talking about a film called The Derby Stallion, which is before High School Musical, where basically it's like High School Musical, but instead of singing and dancing, he wants to be a horse racer.
Nice.
A jockey.
Yeah, that's the word. And on Letterboxd, I don't know if either of you use that website a lot,
No.
but it's where you can essentially just log and review films that you've seen. I was the only other person that had reviewed The Derby Stallion, and when they recorded their episode, they discovered my review. So they reached out, and we got to talking, and then I ended up guesting on an episode where we talked about Sharpay's Fabulous Adventure, which is a spin-off to the High School Musical trilogy.
Oh, cool.
Thanks. I don't know if cool's the right word.
I know, but that sounds awesome. I mean, that's so specific.
Oh,
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
like Zac Efron could be on his deathbed in 50 years, and he'll discover this podcast, and you will have made this old man a very happy, happy man. They're like, oh my God, had I known before, I would have been on the show at the same time as Liam.
And I think the biggest regret he'll have is he'll be on his deathbed and he'll be thinking, I could have had like 30, 40 years of happiness with Liam if only I'd have known he existed out there.
Exactly. That's exactly what I'm getting at. So don't.
Yeah.
I think it's very cool that they have a podcast dedicated to Zac Efron.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun to record, to be honest.
That's awesome.
And it was nice meeting other Zac Efron fans, because there's not many of us, I don't think.
What do you call those? Are they like Efronites? Are they Zackies?
I like Zackies. I don't know if there is an official... There probably is a term, but I don't know what it is. But Zackies works quite well.
All right.
I think my favourite thing was listening to the episode before, or it might not be the one before you went on, but there was an episode where, like you said, at the end, they had this little bit where they sort of discovered you.
Yeah.
And I think my favourite thing is listening to that episode and them trying to decipher whether your love for Zac Efron is the same as theirs in a we just love him, he's great, or if it's more than that. And they have about a 10-minute discussion of whether you're this creepy guy who's just madly in love with Zephron or not.
Yeah, there was definitely a moment where they kind of were wondering if I would come out during the review of the film. But it's all good. It's a completely honest, innocent love. Like, if he's interested, sure, I'll swing that way for him. But it's a very limited pool of men that I would kind of ditch Cat for. Like, there's a lot more women, is what I'm saying. Like, most, to be honest, women.
I'm sure Kat's happy to hear that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying, right? There's a lot of beautiful women in the world, and they shouldn't have to go without me.
Jesus, Liam.
That's awesome. I know who the cool one is now.